Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in 3, 2, 1.
On the troll.
Hello and welcome to Mzansi. We are back again. We have to do this. Obviously, you guys have stayed for long without having any content. Now we're bringing you a bit of, I would say, a branch of what is happening to Senzo's case. Just get to know, look at it, and listen to what is happening to this case. And maybe you'll kind of understand where we come from when they say go left, we go right. Right?
Because most people, especially the ones who are new, don't understand. They're like, oh, you guys are trying to exonerate people.
Criminals.
No. We're looking at the details of this case. We've been covering it for quite some time now. So right now, we are deciding to keep you guys updated fully. So that means even if we come across extra information that not everybody might be privy to, we deliberate on it and we give our opinions, right? We share and we make you think however you choose to think with regards to what is currently unfolding in the trial.
Yes.
So this is one of those coverages or videos that hopefully will help everyone to be updated, especially when we start covering the case. Because once we start covering the case, we won't be talking about stuff that happens sideways much. We're just focused on what is being said in court.
Yes.
So, hi guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel, and it's back to regular programming for us. So yeah, these are the uploads and the videos that we usually share just to keep you guys informed, and hopefully you will enjoy them. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and also like the video. Hit that like button, okay? Encourage me with your like. How's about that?
The story is still the same. We still hit the like button like we mean it.
Still hit that like button.
We still subscribe when you have to subscribe, because that is what is pushing us right now. That's why we're even doing these videos. Otherwise, we would be on a holiday, right? We would be chilling, also focusing on other things. But because you guys are showing interest in what we do, then we are doing this video for you.
Yeah, and thank you so much for your support, guys. It's highly appreciated. So, when Warrant Officer Makhubo's name was first brought up in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, we remember Zungu testifying that, you know what, with regards to the details, and when I mean Zungu, I mean the current Sergeant Zungu, who is still on the stand and will come back to further testify on the 2nd of October, okay? Now, he said that Warrant Officer Makhubo did not believe, or rather rejected, his version of events. Now, he's saying that even Colonel Buthelezi even went as far as to say, you know what, you are covering up for Kelly Kumalo. Yes, you are covering up for the people in the house. Because Zungu's version of events is linking accused 1 to 5 to forced slaughters. Well, not at the crime scene per se, but to forced slaughters, which is the area of the incident.
Yes.
So he's saying that on the 26th of October 2014, he was socializing with accused 1 to 5 at some hostel. And so they did not believe him. Colonel Buthelezi, as well as Warrant Officer Makhubo, did not believe this version of events in 2018 when he was with them personally narrating it.
About Makhubo, I mean, what you told Makhubo, because we touched on some of the aspects on Friday. But in your statement, you state that Makhubo then refuted your information and told you that you are lying, and I'm using lying not because I'm disrespectful to the court, but that's what's written according to your statement, and that there is no evidence that links Sifiso Zungu Ntuli, correct?
Yes.
And furthermore, Makhubo accused you of coming to them with information that lacks basis, correct?
Yes.
And at the time, did you know that officers Makhubo and Joyce Buthelezi, the one that you subsequently met after meeting Makhubo, were investigating officers of CAS 37501 of 2019?
Wakwazi lokho ukuthi bona bephenya idokotela elu-375
ngangazi ukuthi kunelinye maybe docket abayiphenyayo
wawungazi.
ngangazi
I didn't know that there was another docket that was being investigated.
And after that, you then met with, you were called by Colonel Buthelezi to come and meet him, correct?
yebo
Yes.
And what is the time difference, the period between you meeting Makhubo, Sibia, Leshabane, and the meeting with Buthelezi that we know that she also attended with Makhubo again?
Isikhathi esandlula phakathi kwaloya mhlangano kwakulishabane uSibiya noMakhubo nalo mhlangano lo kwakukhona uButhelezi noMakhubo kwandlula isikhathi esingakanani?
asikho side kangako.
Not that long.
And as well, from your statement, we know that Colonel Buthelezi also rejected the information that you had provided to them, refuted your allegations.
Nalapho uButhelezi wayichitha inkulumo yakho.
Yebo.
Yes.
And part of the reason why she refuted your allegations is that you were protecting Kelly Khumalo, you and General Leshabane, correct?
Akusho ke ukuthi uvike noma ke uprotect noma uvikela ke uKelly Khumalo wena no General Leshabane.
Washo kanjalo.
That's how she said.
And furthermore, she informed you that she's got information that implicates or links Kelly Khumalo to the murder, and that one of, according to their investigation, the shooter is one of the persons that were in the house, correct?
Lokho kwakusho uye Colonel Buthelezi.
That's what Colonel Buthelezi said.
And perhaps one should ask a question as to why would an officer just decide not to believe you if they haven't come across any information? I think in my own assumption, the only time they would be able to say, no, you are lying, completely say you are lying, we're not even taking this thing to start with, because maybe, and just maybe there were confessions.
We won't know until.
So after they had the stories, then they're like, no, man, this person, how dare you?
Come with a completely different version.
When maybe people have said 1, 2, 3. Hence, there has been this, I would say, this pattern of trying to say whatever that was said in 375. Most of it was because people were under duress, they were being harassed, and whatnot. Do you understand?
Even Togo's testimony.
It sort of gives you that feeling.
Yeah.
You know, that, okay, they probably said something that they shouldn't have said. And the question is, no, man, how dare do you say that? Just go around and say this person was pressing you against your will, and you ended up accepting whatever that they were saying, and then you said, yeah. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It sounds like that. And I want you to look at patterns. We are going to poke patterns here. Now we're going to compare this case and compare it to this one that we are reading right now.
Yes, the one of Warrant Officer Makhubo and the rest of his team that was had a case against them. So after that interesting testimony from Zungu in court in the Senzo Meyiwa trial,
Yes.
we had one of our subscribers sharing a comment and a link about the most recent report on Warrant Officer Makhubo and what has been happening to him in the last couple of years ever since himself and Joyce Buthelezi worked on the finalized docket 375. And for all of you who may not know, docket 375 is actually implicating the people that were in the house and some of the police officers who are alleged to have stolen important statements
Yes.
from the original docket.
That is as far as we have had before De Novo,
Yes.
when Tifo was still in charge of the case in terms of what he said in that court.
Yes, most definitely.
If you want to know the names.
It also poses the case of defeating the ends of justice, not only to these police officer, but also to the people that were in the house, to say that they've been lying all of these years and they've not been telling the truth.
Yes.
about what happened to Senzo.
Yes.
So they've been in defeating the ends of justice, including some of them who have allegedly been who cleaned the crime scene, okay, instead of leaving it as it may be so that proper evidence could be collected. So there's a lot happening with Docket 375, and a lot of work was put into it. So all I can say is that it has been tough for this team that worked on Docket 375 over the last couple of years. And
without any fail also, we must say that it was just relegated to a study for a junior. As much as a recommendation made by juniors, which obviously are not taken serious. That's what we were told, and yet this is the case waiting. That's another story that we are told, that okay, 375 depends on 636. If 636 does fail to actually convict, then we go to 375.
So the Daily Maverick wrote a piece on the 27th of August, and they entitled this article, "A Good Cop's Life is in Danger After Uncovering Lies and Cover-Ups Relating to the Murder of Senzo Meyiwa." Now, I'm going to share this disclaimer just for us as a channel in Mzansi Reality to say that this video is not made to tarnish anyone's name, but rather made as a result of what has been publicly reported by the Daily Maverick. And we are choosing to discuss it as Mzansi Reality because it relates to the Senzo Meyiwa trial that we have consistently covered on this platform. And it comes as a result to also keep you guys updated on what is happening that is unlikely to be widely reported on. The details that we come across that don't necessarily are out there, and not everyone might be privy to, especially during the live broadcast as we cover the trial. You know, some people comment from being lost and confused and not know what we're talking about when we refer to some individuals or some of the details like this one we're about to share. So this video serves as a purpose to provide extra information with regards to the Senzo Meyiwa trial. So Hawks detective Warrant Officer Makhubo was charged after he opened the now notorious second docket 375 for defeating the ends of justice in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. This is one of the many malicious prosecutions brought against competent SAPS members in the past 3 decades.
And that's a writing of Mavericks.
Daily Maverick.
Daily Mavericks.
And it looks like this has been happening for 3 decades in the SAPS, where when good investigators seem to be doing their jobs properly, there's some kind of interference, especially with high profile, or rather cases that implicate the most important people of the land, or the people who consider themselves important.
The gods.
The gods of South Africa. So Hawks detective Warrant Officer Makhubo was charged after he had opened the now notorious second docket for defeating the ends of justice in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. So these counts that he was up against, they were faced with assault, torture, kidnapping, and extortion.
Yeah.
So it looks like he was not the only one. It looks like there's an entire team of people that were charged. I don't know whether Joyce Buthelezi was included in that case as well. It was just not mentioned in this article, the other people. It was just him. So it looks like he's more of the brave one who's spearheading everything.
Yes, and I want you to look at this. Just to clarify, this is a different case. This is a case that could have happened 2001 or
2006.
In 2006, yes. So there is a pattern though, because the people that are coming to testify now, that most of who, like your Tumis and they've been crying such things. Being kidnapped, torture, extortion. So now there is a pattern, and when you say something that is already kind of known or was already in court, you are most likely going to be believed. But who shares that information with them? You know, who's this person who's saying, if it didn't happen, let's say it didn't happen to them. Let's make an assumption, because this is obviously based on assumption. Let's say it didn't happen. Who could have shared this information? And I mean, the pattern of how they are saying it does sound like it's something that how would I say it? It makes it a bit of a truth. If indeed it happened, then we would believe that Warrant Officer Makhubo was actually that kind of a person. Do you understand?
Yes, and even with Joyce Buthelezi, remember Mtogo was on Joyce Buthelezi's case. He was saying that Joyce Buthelezi organized for him to get beaten up by the other police officers, and he was tortured the whole night, all of that shebang bang. He even went to IP block, they blah blah blah. But when you look or when you watch the documentary, you'd understand that Joyce Buthelezi has a degree in psychology. She's a qualified in psychology, and she's also a police officer. So her interrogation techniques that have been heard before with regards to Tumelo specifically is that he was taken to Senzo's grave.
Which is to kind of provoke certain emotions.
That you'd expect the psychology to work like that, not the way that Mtogo was describing. But Mtogo was persistent, bringing her name over and over and over and over and over as he was testifying, which creates the narrative that the 375 docket investigators
was created in under falsehood. That's what it says.
The conditions
of these
torture.
people of torture. Yes, that's what it says. And that begs the question as to, if you look at the character of the people that were there, and look at the cases that they have dealt with. No one cried the foul play.
No one has.
One example is actually accused number 5.
Accused number 5, of which we're going to get into now. So on the 8th of August, all the accused were found not guilty on all the charges. So Warrant Officer Makhubo and everyone else who was accused on the 8th of August, we were busy covering the case and what was happening in court, okay? And I didn't want to rush this. I wanted to unpack it properly with Mr. Anonymous, and that's why it's being done right now, okay, you guys? It's not that, we are very invested in the case. So the brief judgment in the Johannesburg High Court, it didn't even take long, Mr. Anonymous.
Yeah.
It didn't take long according to how the Daily Maverick is describing it. They're saying that on the 8th of August, they were found not guilty on the brief judgment in the Johannesburg High Court, referring to the complete lack of evidence needed for conviction. However, through his Meyiwa investigation, Makhubo's life remains in great danger, according to the Daily Maverick. So Warrant Officer Makhubo, who has been a detective for 30 years, suffered this shocking treatment for doing his job well, following his appointment in 2018 to join other investigators dealing with the murder case of Senzo Meyiwa. Warrant Officer Makhubo has had a fair share of successful convictions, and of those which include accused number 5 in the Senzo Meyiwa case, Fisokuhle Ntuli.
That conviction, just for clarity, because other people do not catch when you are in a hurry like that. Accused number 5 was not arrested for Senzo's case. No. By Warrant Officer Makhubo. He was arrested for other things that are known to them, which is probably why he was there in jail for those cases. I would say it like that.
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with this case of Senzo.
So for those who may not understand, Fisokuhle Ntuli, accused number 5, was in jail in 2018 when they pointed them for the Senzo Meyiwa case. He was already convicted, according to reports.
For different cases.
Well, he got convicted in 2019, but he was in the jail.
Yes.
Okay. And he was convicted for other cases. Not the Senzo Meyiwa case. So right now, he's on trial for the Senzo Meyiwa case.
Yes.
So he's represented by Advocate Mshololo. So this conviction was one of the most recent ones that Warrant Officer Makhubo had on his table.
Yes.
So, being that of taxi cum political hitman Fisokuhle Ntuli on 6 counts of murder. Now, I did not know the details of Fisokuhle Ntuli's case, but it is scary.
But for the sake of this, we're just gonna let you know on them.
We're gonna let you know. He murdered a Nongoma IFP councillor plus witnesses. Okay.
Allegedly, right?
No, it's not alleged. He's convicted.
Convicted.
When he's convicted, we don't need to use alleged.
Okay.
So this man is a hitman who killed an IFP councillor in Nongoma and 5 other people who were in the vicinity who saw him that were witnesses. Okay? In which he received 6 life sentences. So currently serving 6 life sentences for this. And the Daily Maverick just shared it with us. So this is one of the only few known convictions of dozens of political linked killings in KZN. And the division that Warrant Officer Makhubo does investigations in is this heavy political killing in KZN. There's a division in the SAPS that he works in mostly. So Ntuli is accused number 5 in the Meyiwa case currently in court, and he had been arrested and denied bail in 2018. Makhubo realized that there were shortcomings in the Meyiwa investigation, including that a key statement had been removed after the witnesses had given that statement to 6 previous investigators. Well, it wasn't 375, it was the 636, the one that is before court. So they realized that this statement went missing, okay? And the witness had given the statement to 6 previous investigators. So this witness is alleged to be that of Senzo Meyiwa's brother-in-law. That one that says he received a phone call that Dumelo had said that Senzo got shot while he was breaking up a fight between Zandi and her boyfriend.
As is alleged.
Allegedly.
Yes.
So his investigations revealed that there was sufficient evidence to charge those in the house with the murder of Meyiwa when he was killed, which led to the opening of case 375 of 01/2019, the second docket. So the prosecutor to whom the docket was presented agreed that the case was a strong one, and he started to prepare the indictment for the arrest of the suspects who had been in the house. Makhubo was advised to open a case of defeating the ends of justice because key incriminating evidence had been removed. However, before the matter could proceed further, the prosecutor was allegedly instructed by Gauteng Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, Andrew Chauke, to charge Makhubo under an existing case which was already in progress in Hillbrow, case 988 of 6/17. So this case was opened in June 2017 that Warrant Officer Makhubo was going for in court.
Yeah.
This case related to a matter in which a team of detectives recovered money stolen in Gauteng in 2006, during which time the crimes they were charged for were allegedly committed. Makhubo had not been working with them. The instruction to charge Makhubo had emanated from then National Commissioner Kehla Stole, who had also sent a general from the Northern Cape to interrogate him with a view to charging him departmentally. But there was no evidence for an internal inquiry to proceed. So this 2017 case had initially been heard in the Magistrates Court in Johannesburg in 2018, but the presiding officer had thrown it out for lack of evidence. IPID had been ordered to gather further evidence, but it seems that had not happened when the matter resurfaced in Johannesburg High Court in 2020. So apparently, even the summons for Makhubo to appear in court was left with lawyers for the other accused. So his lawyers did not receive the summons to appear for this court case. So for 3 years, this case has hung over the head of this experienced investigator, which would have been a major impediment to any career advancement.
Yeah.
He had to attend court regularly when no evidence was laid against him. So now we get to the details of this case that, in my opinion, was cooked up against him. And the reason why I'm saying this, Mr. Anonymous, is because it emanates from 2006, and apparently, allegedly, Warrant Officer Makhubo was not even a part of that investigation team that arrested this person by the name Witness RM. So their identity has been kept a secret for their safety, perhaps, of course, in 2006.
Yeah.
However, Witness RM was approached in 2017 to open a case against him, claiming to have been assaulted in 2006
The
when
same
he was
time.
arrested.
The same time when Senzo's case, the statements and everything was happening,
It was 2018,
2018.
so a year before this case was dug up from 2006.
Just after, isn't it? When were the meetings? Was it 2017 or 2018? 2018.
The meetings, according to Zungu, were 2018.
So when the meetings happened, then after that,
And Warrant Officer Makhubo, remember, he wasn't told about this case in 2017. He's told about it in 2020 when it starts appearing before the court.
that's when they didn't want to, when Warrant Officer Makhubo and Joyce Butelis did not want to
Not
accept the evidence. And then maybe, just maybe,
2020, he's told you have a case against you. You need to go to
that
court.
was initiated on 2018. 2017,
It was
and
put
then
on standby
and
in
put on
2017.
standby.
So you think about that. You think about that. This is how complicated this situation is. It's very complicated. So 2017, Witness RM is coming forward. You know, they are being told that this case from 2006, Witness RM, by the way, was implicated. He was one of the accused for this 2006 case. So there are more details with regards to it. So originally, the people who were accused were Major General Jen Mabula and a team of Northwest investigators. So you have to ask yourself, to Warrant Officer Makhubo, all the way from KZN in the Division of Taxi Violence and Political Killings, Ufunani in a case with Northwest investigators, right? You have to ask yourself that question. You know, and the Witness RM was claiming to have been assaulted in 2006 when he was arrested. Okay, so in July 2023, the truth about the complicity in corruption was exposed, as summarized in a sworn affidavit and statement by Witness RM, who had been arrested in 2006 on suspicion of involvement in a robbery. So at the time, he says, Witness RM, he gave the SAPS 80,000 rands, which belonged to him. So sometime in 2017, men named apparently from IPED came to him wanting information about what had happened when he was arrested in 2006. And he had a statement about it, which he says was the truth. So the same man returned in 2018 and asked him to make another statement or another powerful statement.
Here's a pattern now. A statement, and there's always an additional statement.
Yes.
And I want you to look at this pattern, because I mean we are currently suffering from that
In the Senzo Meyiwa trial.
in the Senzo Meyiwa trial. Now and then there's this additional statements. Later, 6-7 years
Zungu
later,
statement was made
Zungu
in
statements, a new statement.
31st May 2023. And it has mistakes, and those mistakes are being fixed in court.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of statement maneuvering here. So with the witness RM, a similar thing happened. So the same man returned in 2018 and asked him to make another powerful statement, which included that he had been assaulted by the police. If he wanted to have his 80,000 rands returned to him, this 80,000 rands that was taken in 2006 from him. So he then signed the second statement. However, in a further sworn statement made to a High Court advocate involved in the case, dated 31st of July 2023, witness RM revealed that he had signed the false statement given to him by one of the investigators, PK. Now, this investigator is also not mentioned. They are labeled the name PK, including assault that never happened. So he's saying that in the statement, that assault that he was told to write in the statement never happened, and confirms that he had not witnessed others being assaulted. Now, he said he made the false statement after a promise to get taken by the police. So they threatened him that we are going to be taking you back to the jail. That was one of the threats. And it seems that the money recovered after the suspects had been arrested was linked to the robbery and was entered in the SAPS system. So here's what happened to this witness RM in 2006. He was implicated in the so-called robbery, and then he was made to pay a bribery of 80,000 rands. But that bribery was not a bribery per se. They entered that 80,000 rands as proof
Of
that
a
the
stolen
robbery
mine.
has been stolen. Yeah, the money has been taken.
Yes.
So they had literally had him by the balls to write that statement. Do you understand what I'm saying? If it wasn't for whoever was working on this specific case to do the right thing, this truth may have never come out.
And people will be convicted.
People would have been convicted. Warrant Officer Makhubo would have been known as a corrupt cop. So you digest that. You look at this intricate web of complication.
And the patterns and the movement of how these things happen. There's similarities. You know, if you read this Maverick story and then you look at what is happening in Senzo, there's similarities, and there's even sort of, one would assume that there are links. Something was triggered by maybe resistance from Makhubo, and then there you go.
We have a case.
We have a
ready
case
and
against-
waiting
yeah.
that you are going to be implicated in by fire, by force.
Yeah, it looks more solid like that. Obviously, it's allegedly, and it's assumptions.
It's an assumption, but this is
It's mind blowing.
this is a mess. This is scary. Even this is scary. Okay, so whatever lozi that Warrant Officer Makhubo has is very powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful. It works.
Because wow, he was going down for this one. If it wasn't for witness RM,
Twisting, which is what is currently happening, and our beloved judge is saying people are threatened.
so now this has raised some serious questions posed by the Daily Maverick, and they're asking, this deliberate falsification by IPID in collusion with the DPP raises extremely serious questions about why this prosecution had been pursued even though it didn't have much evidence, including about the role of former SAPS Commissioner Stole and the conduct of IPID investigators in collusion with the DPP.
Isn't it the DPP was the same DPP that Tiff was complaining about?
He is the one who approved case 636, the one that's currently on trial now. If you watch the live podcast episode that we did with
He
Advocate,
dwelled on him
yes,
a lot.
yes,
And not only that, there was a lot actually happening around him and the DPP.
he's hearing of all of these shenanigans, and he just
No, I think you are missing. I'm saying he for himself. If you listen to that interview, he has a lot of problems with the DPP.
yes.
It's
he
not
does.
the issue of whether he approved this case or not. Just a lot of problem with the DPP.
Yeah, he did rant about him a lot. He did. That is not a secret. So, guys, if you are conflicted, there's a full podcast we did with Advocate Tiffanya. The DPP is a problem. So the first arising, allegedly. So the first arising from Makhubo being joined to an existing case relates to why the case against those originally accused, Major General Jen Mabula and Northwest investigators, was handled with so much great care and perseverance, pursued for all these years, since 2006. And let us be honest, this is South Africa. Cases that are not high profile, that are cold, can never be pursued like this, especially the ones involving robbery and whatnot. So it was very strange to have it pursued the way that it was, given the absence of evidence even. So these detectives had coincidentally been investigating the Kato Mana unit following media reports implicating them in dozens of murders. So this strategy of deployment of investigators and prosecutors from other provinces had been pursued because of fears about the lack of independence of KZN police, IPID, and prosecutors who were colleagues of the accused. So this case appeared and was made to look very serious. So by the time 2017 came and already it's being planned to go to trial, and then 2020 Warrant Officer Makhubo hears that his name is involved in this case, it was a lot. It was like it was a serious case that had a lot of evidence. So serious allegations have been made that these arrests were driven by former IPID head Robert McBride because the men had arrested and prosecuted members of the unit, including organized crime John Johan Boysen, although in the Boysen case, the culprits seem to have been senior prosecutors, especially another prosecutor that I will not mention, okay? So it looks like IPID is also not immune to corruption. So for those who may not know what IPID is, it's the Independent Police Investigation Directorate, and it's a government institution where you're supposed to report corrupt officials or corrupt police officials. So IPID is mandated to conduct investigations into police criminality. It does not fall under the SAPS. So the IPID resides under the Ministry of Police and functions independently of the SAPS. So they investigate stuff like death in police custody, death as a result of police actions, any complaint related to a police officer using an official firearm. So ironically, another question that the Daily Maverick poses is that given his role in the prosecution of Makhubo, a November 2020 media report quotes senior prosecutor Chauke as being prepared to waive prosecution against these investigators, apparently ignoring instructions from the NPA deputy head Rodney de Kock to enroll the case. So he was told not to pursue this case, but he still insisted on pursuing it. So while attempts will be made to have these prosecutions investigated, the exonerated accused will probably need to institute a civil action against the state if the veracity of their allegations are to be tested in a court of law. So, according to this piece from the Daily Maverick, it is evident that the abominable treatment of an experienced, competent police member with a clean record resulted from his having exposed a tissue of lies and cover-ups relating to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. However, he is not out of the woods in terms of his own personal safety. The threat to his life will continue despite his having been cleared by the High Court of any wrongdoing, as the case that he opened poses a threat to extremely powerful people. There's other evidence that suggests a deliberate cover-up involving various senior police members. An alleged political collusion took place after Senzo Meyiwa was murdered, and in the interest of justice for the Meyiwa family as well as Makhubo's safety, it should proceed to trial as soon as possible. So the recent brutal assassination of Lieutenant Colonel Franz Matipa highlights the dangers posed to highly skilled Hawks detectives doing important work which may pose a threat to powerful economic and political forces, and concerns about their safety must be taken seriously. So this fight against investigators who seem to crack cases in the SAPS is not happening for the first time. It has happened before, and in particular, they're focusing on an area, KZN. And under cross-examination during a trial, McDam, the prosecutor, considered that the laying of charges and media publicity surrounding them were effective in imputing in the mind of the general public the guilt of those so charged, even if they were subsequently found innocent. So this quotation relates to one of the many malicious prosecutions brought against competent SAPS members in the past 3 decades, in which the accused were top detectives whose investigations had threatened to expose the involvement of senior politicians in KZN, in carnage, enrichment, and in the later 1990s. So this is a very intricate, detailed work that the Daily Maverick was talking about. For me, let me pay my final shout out to Mary, the house of the Daily Maverick, because she's actually an investigative journalist, or rather a violence monitor analyst, who did this marvelous piece. And she has been following these type of stories that are very scary. So can we give her a round of applause there, Mr. Anonymous?
Yeah, sure, we can.
Let's clap hands for her, because she's the one who compiled this brilliant article providing insight into Warrant Officer Makhubo's case, of which we did not know the details of, and to pose such serious questions that I am afraid to pose as an individual myself. So brilliant work, and I would encourage you guys to go read it for yourselves if you can, and when you get the time, just go to the Daily Maverick and search for it. I'm sure you'll find it. And that's it from us as Mzansi Reality. Hopefully this will mean that you guys are on track when we talk about the case. I don't want people falling behind.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And some of the sources, Mr. Anonymous, interestingly, that she used was sources that also included reports from lawyers and those in the media, and the documentation procured in the 2021 by Malisela Tifo regarding the second docket. So she used all of that information, and of course other various. You can tell that she has inside information with these cases.
So Tifo blow this case open.
Basically.
All right. Guys, we don't need to tell you much. It's okay.
Yeah.
What we have told you, you can go find it there in the Daily Mavericks and read it yourself. It's public piece, I think.
It's deeply concerning stuff, eh?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's insane. But we hold on. We need to see it for ourselves as the public.
Yeah.
So bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And until the next one, it's a bye from me and Mr. Anonymous.
It's a bye.